Thanksgiving. And I'm sure you can probably guess the title of our class tonight is Gratitude. And I did just a small part of writing. Did you guess that already? What? Gratitude.
Well,
Yeah. Gadon's talking, he says, you can truly be grateful in all things. Be grateful for what you have, and more will be added to you. Gratitude is a living, breathing force of life that can multiply itself many times. My dear ones, when you can learn to be grateful in all things, you will have grown in spirit to the place where you can release this physical plane to grow closer to the source of your origin. By this I mean grateful in what you call unpleasant experiences also, for they are the ones that give you greater opportunity to reach a greater understanding when you can hold to the light of gratitude. If you'd like to fix the lights, we can
thank you.
have a quiet time. Yeah, you might as well join our circle. We think of this as a circle of light. So let's close our eyes and feel ourselves merging together in spirit and making this a bright, bright circle of light that reaches up to the higher realms of divine love and light. And the teachers and guides are reaching down to make the contact with us. And remember that each one here is as much a part of the channel as the one who speaks. Let us think of gratitude before we start the message and feel the force and the gravity and the beauty of truly being grateful in all things. Thank you, Father. Good evening, my dear ones. This is Gadon coming to you from these realms of divine love and light, the Father's house in which we live. The Father's house is where you live also, and I would have you to reach higher, to grasp a greater understanding of the Father's house so that you might take the elevator, you might say, to a higher place where you are more alive. For truly, on these higher rounds, you do experience the life force in a much greater way. Our title tonight is a very important one. Your holidays that you take, the birth of Christ, the birth of the Christ Spirit, and the resurrection are very important. And this also is a very important one. And not too many think of Thanksgiving as a time of being grateful. And I would have you to realize that it is a reverent time to be grateful for the life that God has given us, for everything that He has provides for us in this life, for it truly comes from the one source. And as you grow in consciousness, the greatest riches that you can have, then you experience more life. You experience more of the life force. You experience more of God Himself, for God is the life force. And you experience more of His love. My dear ones, when you come closer to the Father's heart and experience more of His divine love, It is such a blessed thing. It is so overwhelming when you first have that close feeling of his love for you, and to have for you at this time it would be unbearable. And this may sound incorrect to you, but your systems can only handle so much while you are on the earth plane and in these lower dimensions. And this is why it is so important to release the lower things of life that have no real meaning to life. The illusions on your earth plane have no real meaning to life eternal. And as you can learn to be grateful in all things, even the so-called unpleasant things, then you can release the values that you have placed on the illusions of this plane, and you can raise your consciousness closer and closer to the heart of God. And as you move higher, as you work every day to take some time to go alone with the Father, and no matter what else you are doing, my dear ones, there should not be a day go by that you do not take some time to go alone with your Heavenly Father that dwells within you and have communion with Him. It is very important that you do this. And if you are involved with family or children, then use your mental abilities and your insight to make a time and make a place to go aside and have this quiet communion with your Heavenly Father that dwells within you. And I promise you that if you do this daily, it will grow, and you will be amazed at how much you can experience by making it a consistent thing and using your imagination, that is the creative force, to move closer and closer to God and allow His light and His love and His healing power to bathe you, to cleanse you, to heal you. For you do have many scars from these lower realms, and these scars, and some of you have more than others, but they need the cleansing power of God's love. And because He has given you the free will, He cannot invade your free will and just cleanse you of this. You must be open for it. And you must have learned the lesson that the scar has come from. Each scar that we have, or distortion, whatever you want to call it, has come from a misunderstanding of life, a misunderstanding of some experience that you may have had in life, a fear that has grown into proportions that has become a monster to you. Not you in this circle so much, but so many on your plane do have monsters inside themselves, and they have allowed certain fears that have started just in a small way to grow and grow, and without the guidance and the understanding, the fear and the monster has taken them over. And when I say monster, I'm speaking symbolically. But fear is a monster, or let me put it this way, you make fear a monster. And it is a troubling thing to you. And those who you call insane, this is what has happened to them. They have allowed fear to grow out of all proportions and have not allowed the healing power of their Heavenly Father to come in and to heal the places and give the light of understanding. It is important that you understand about healing, and I would like to speak of it tonight, for the life force of gratitude is a very healing power. It can be a very healing power when you can be grateful, and even the so-called unpleasant things, you see, you stop the poison that comes into your system from fear. You stop it immediately when you can say, "Thank you, Father, for this experience. Help me to understand it. Let your light shine into my mind. Let your love shine into my heart and give me the understanding that I need so that it cannot abide in this house." When you do this, my dear ones, you have received instant healing. When you do it from your heart, not just with words, but from your heart, with meaning. You see, God is everywhere present. He is working through this teacher you call Don, this self, and working through Donald and many, many others, and every one of you that will allow him to work through. And he reaches you in many, many ways. And it is interesting how many ways that he can reach out to you when you are open. So one of the important things for you to learn in moving higher in consciousness is learning to be open to the Father and to the higher realms of love and light, and learning to discern the difference between them and the illusions of this plane. It is gratifying to see you come here this night before your holiday. There have been some years when the crowd when there was no one that showed up on the Wednesday before the holiday. And we are grateful that you're here, and grateful to give us the opportunity to share this time in God's love with you. Are there questions that you would like to ask this evening?
I have one.
Yes.
Sometimes you know that your life isn't going exactly the way that it should because you don't feel good about everything, but you don't know where to begin looking or how to start. What would be a good way to get back on track when you feel like that?
Yes. My dear one, as I know you and see into your heart, I understand exactly what you are speaking of, and I would say to you to stop straining at the bit. Have you been around horses?
Mm-hmm.
And so you understand what that means. Mm-hmm. Be grateful for what you have and where you are, and give it your best, as if you are doing it unto God and for God, for in true reality you are. And when the timing is right, when your consciousness has reached the right level, and the timing is right for everyone that is involved, you will be released to a greater work. Be not concerned about this, but go about your duties in a happy, joyful way, for you are a bright spirit, and the Father can work through you in wondrous ways to perform his miracles if you will understand that everyone is always in their right place. And when we become impatient with something, it is because we do not understand that there is a larger picture, a much, much larger picture, that is very difficult to see from your surface point of view. And when you can see this larger picture, it is like working a jigsaw puzzle. Maybe you just have one or two of the pieces to go into the puzzle, and the other pieces are not there for you yet, and you have to wait until they come into view so that you can fit them into place. And this is the way with your planet and the things that are happening on your planet. All of you have your particular part to play in this play on the stage. Each one has an individual role. You are using your free will also, and sometimes the play gets distorted. But when you are following the path of light as you are, remember that God knows, and He understands, and your higher self knows. Just be patient and remember to be grateful for what you have, and more will be added to you. But also, I would ask you to consider whatever you do in your work, do it with a joyful heart. Do it with gratitude. Do it as unto God. Does this help your understanding?
Thank you very much.
Yes.
I've been thinking all this week.
Speak louder, please.
I've been thinking all this week about clairvoyant vision and photographic memory. It seems that it's only been 4,000 years since we have been recognizing color. They say Aristotle only saw black, and the Bible never speaks about a blue sky. They didn't see color, and they had no sense of fragrance. They had a sense of disagreeable smells, but not fragrance. And so I've been thinking that this clairvoyant vision and the photographic memory must be the things that God has planned to come along just about this time. It's part of our spiritual heritage, is it not?
Yes, you already have this ability, my dear one. And let me clarify some of what you have said. You are talking about in your known history, you see, the planet Earth and other planets have been here forever. Not the planet Earth, but life has been here in existence from the beginning, in which there was no beginning. But your planet Earth has been here a long, long time, and you, as peoples of this earth, have built up many civilizations much, much higher than this one, and have destroyed it over and over through the wrong use of the power when it came into your being. It is a misunderstanding, and the word greed is the best word that I can think of that causes such a thing. And this comes from fear. When your technology, when your psychic abilities come forth, and they do come forth as this new age especially comes into being, remember that they are gifts of God, and they are to be used in a reverent way. They are to be used in a holy way, and not to be abused. Remember that you have made this mistake as a people of this planet many, many times. We have worked very hard from this side, and many have come from all over the universe to be with this planet at this time of great changes to help you to raise your consciousness as a whole and to help you to understand the truth so that you will not make this mistake again, and that this planet can be lifted up and you can go with it into the Christ consciousness. Does this help your understanding, my dear?
Yes, with the photographic memories, I got to the point where I couldn't remember anything, and then I just decided I'd find any syllable within the word I wanted to remember, or the first letter, the most important part of the word, and then I'd get quiet, and instead of trying to hurry up and find out what I wanted to know, I'd get quiet and listen, and I found that I got help that way. What I wanted to know would come through.
Yeah.
I also had trouble with wondering where trouble would come from. When I felt a little disagreeable, I'd think there's somebody, someplace, is annoyed at me. And if I get just quiet and think about this one, could it be this one, could it be this one, could it be this one? And then I'd find out what it was. And then I'd pray, God, take this disagreeable feeling, this disagreeable message that is coming, change it into God's love, and set it back from where it came. And then I felt better.
Yes. When we understand that you get yourself out of the way, your little self, and stop straining to make things happen and relax and let them happen, then it can happen. Let us talk about this other part that you mentioned and realize that the disagreeable feeling is inside of you. No matter how it got there, you have allowed it there, and you are responsible for how you feel, and it matters not where it comes from. Do not be concerned about this. Just know that you are God and that you have the power to send God's love into it and cancel it out and send God's love to yourself and all around you and be at peace. When we start to put blame on other things and other people outside ourselves, we are missing the mark. For we create our own reality, as the common saying is now. We build our own bridges, and we also tear them down. So it is to you and you alone that you should look, and not be concerned about what others are doing or not doing. You have no control over others, or you should not have, and so be at peace. When you find a feeling that's inside of you, go in and talk to God about it, and let Him heal it. Make the contact, and feel His presence, feel His love, and let His healing power be there and take the place of the other feeling that is truly illusion. For there is nothing in the whole universe but God's love. And anything else that we experience, we have the power to create it, but it still is not real. For the universe and everything, all of creation, is made from God's love. And in true reality, there is nothing else but God's love. But we are co-creators with God, and we can create an illusionary negativity or something, but in truth, it has no power in the sense of eternity.
Unless we give it.
Unless you give it more power by thinking about it. And when you stop thinking about it and start thinking about God as Daniel did in the lion's den. He turned his back on the lions and turned his face to God, and the lions had no power over him. This was a true story, but is also very symbolic. The lions represent your problems or your disagreeable feelings as you put them, and God represents the answer. And God's love, when you embrace it and let it be your living partner that lives inside of you, and let it shine forth from you, it solves all your so-called problems. Could you put the water in Donald's hand, please? Are there any other questions this evening? The the spirit of gratitude is much more powerful than you have given it credit for, my dear ones. And when I say this, it is because you do not use it as much as you should, as you could. And as you move through this incarnation, realize that there are certain things that if you can remember to do, it will help make everything so much easier for you. And the first one, of course, is divine love. Divine love is a key to all things. Yes, my dear.
I set aside today for Thanksgiving for the spiritual food God is giving us. And it made me feel good.
Yes. Yes, and when you partake of the food, if you can think of it as the body of God, as some rituals do, and when you drink your liquids, even if it's just water, realize that it all comes from God. Realize that you are God's. You are one with God, even though you are not completely consciously aware of it. It is there inside of you. And if you use your free will, you can let God's love help you to reach inside and bring it forth into your conscious awareness if you are determined enough. And I will give you a story that is familiar to you. It is about David and Goliath. David was much smaller than the giant, was he not? But you see, my dear ones, he had God on his side. And he knew that God's power was more powerful than anything on this plane. And so he went forth with the power of God and accomplished that which he had to do. And if you remember this, as you go forth in your days, in your experiences, then you too can be a powerful force, no matter what part you are playing in this play on this stage. God is just as powerful in the least as he is in the most of what you think of on your physical plane. The ones that you give credit to are the ones who are famous, or should I say the world. You are learning not to do that. The ones who are wealthy. But you see, God is just as powerful as the least one on this planet in the eyes of the world. And he can come forth if he's given the chance. But the free will is so important for you to have the ability to flex your spiritual muscles, and no matter how long it takes, you will grow into your godhood. Are there other questions this evening? Do I have a
question that is not on this subject?
Yes, of course.
Wanted to know if you could discuss what the difference is between what I hear called a twin soul and a soulmate. They seem to be two different things. What are they?
I heard the soulmate part. What was the first one?
Twin soul. I hear a lot
Mm-hmm.
about twin souls.
Twin souls.
Yeah.
Yes. My dear one, it is difficult for me to put this in a way that you can still have your romantic feelings that you want and still hold on to the truth. We are all soulmates to each other. Your true soulmate is your higher self, and twin souls are the same. We are all one in life, and when you feel a lack, then you invent something that makes you feel better. And when you feel that there is that one that is out there waiting for you somewhere in the universe, and there are those who fit closer to you than any other. God has created us all as individuals, but He has also created us close to some and farther away from others. When, for example, when you graduate from this plane and go through the experience you call death, you automatically gravitate to the dimension that you are vibrating at in your consciousness. And if you are above the planes of darkness, which all of you are here, then you will be at a place, a dimension where all the other people are in agreement with you, and you are in agreement with them. In other words, you are in harmony with each other. On this earth plane, it is a Duke's mixture, as you would call it, of many, many different types. And this gives you opportunity to have something to push against, to grow, because you're going to have many varied experiences. And as I said before, if you can be grateful for these experiences, then you can grow. But on the dimensions above you, the dimensions of light, you automatically gravitate to those who are like you. And there is not so many variations as there is on your earth plane.
Could I follow up with a question then?
Yes.
Okay, the thing that I was curious about, and thank you for that explanation because that's very helpful. Two things caused the question, unless there's an underlying thing I'm not aware. The twin soul, as it's been described in the literature recently and in channeling, seems to be soul in close vibration, as best I understand it, as opposed to a soulmate, which, as best I understand it, is really another part of yourself. It is the split of the male and female originally of one entity. Is that incorrect?
Let me say to you, my dear, and I would like for you to listen closely, that we are all one in life. We are all one in life. Now, when you came out of the Godhead, you did come in to the dual vibration of duality, and you took on many, many concepts that are not pure truth. And as you come down to the lower dimensions, you have invented some things that will help you to be more comfortable with life as you find it. And the twin soul and the soulmate idea is the idea that life is all one. Everyone is your twin soul. Everyone is your soulmate. You see, because there is just one life. There are many close friends that you have been with for eons of time and have very close, loving relationships with on many dimensions, on many planets. And so it is helpful and comfortable for some to think that there is the Prince Charming, as you think of the Cinderella story, that is there waiting for them. But you see, the Prince Charming or the Princess Charming is inside of you. And if you can turn loose of waiting or reaching out and start reaching in to find God, He is your soulmate. He is the life that you are. And when you begin to know Him more, then you begin to experience more life. Because life, as you experience it on this physical plane, is a life of poverty when you think of it relative to the realms of love and light. You are in dire poverty relative to the realms of love and light. Does this help your understanding?
A great deal, yes. And if I understand, let me ask another question to see if I really understand what you're saying. I understand, I believe, when you're talking about we all come from one place, and that when we reach these realms, then we have created, as you say, fictions in order to make things work. As perhaps we have created material things to make things work as well.
Yes.
But, and so in that sense, in going totally about it, of course there could be no such thing as a soulmate, or you could not divide things as that way. What I understand what you're saying to me, complete, and thank you very much. But, for example, Ramtha said some very interesting things, and the reason, what really gets behind the question here is he did a very interesting thing on a seminar on soulmates, in which he kind of poo-pooed the fictional idea that everybody has that they're going to like looking for their soulmate, say that this would be ridiculous because your soulmate is so similar to yourself. You'd argue a lot until you've reached a reasonably good degree of positive living. That kind of soulmate. You're saying that doesn't exist?
I'm not saying that it doesn't or that it does. I feel that from this plane, it is too difficult to put into words for you to have the greater understanding. Let me say this to you, that there is something much, much greater for you than you are thinking of now that awaits you. And so open your mind for the greater things and do not settle for the lesser. What on this plane, the Cinderella story was put forth especially to help you to grow in spirit and to learn to get along with each other and to truly love each other. And you see, when you can truly love everyone as Cinderella loved Prince Charming, then you know the truth. And you need not divide it up and say, this is my soulmate and that is your soulmate. That is division. That is dividing life. There is only one life, and we are all one with each other. This is the real truth. But this is so much greater than what you have in mind. When you reach the consciousness of it, you will know of what I speak. But to put it into your language is not possible right now, or to convey it to you. The greatness of it is what I'm speaking of.
Yeah, if am I understanding then that in a sense you're referring, or maybe entirely, you're referring to unconditional love, this section. Is that?
Yes, unconditional love is, it comes down to that for everything and everyone. And when we accept what's right in front of us and love it and be grateful for it and give God the glory, you see, then there's no problems of any kind. It is when we think that we are being cheated, that we feel lack, and that we are not getting our share. This is what causes your wars. People wanting more land, or they're wanting a better life, and they think if they can take it away from another country, then it will help them. But you see, it does the opposite. It only continues in their consciousness to divide life, and there is no division in life. There is only one. This is a great lesson for everyone to learn and to contemplate, that there is only one life and that we are all one with all life. And this means the whole of creation, the whole universe. All races, all creation of any kind, animals, birds, anything, we are all one, because there's nothing in life but God. And God has created all of life in the uncreated universe and in the created universe out of himself. He has given us the seed of himself, the image of himself, and given us the ability to create as he creates. And we do create the monsters at times, as we have mentioned. And I do not want to be misunderstood about this word, but the things that are unpleasant and that work against our moving higher in consciousness.
Thank you. That's been very, very valuable.
Yes.
Very valuable.
God
And yet
bless
you have that fiction, huh? That there is no really such thing as the soul that we can just draw thing.
I would not like to say yes or no on this, because you are not at a place where you can see it and understand it.
Okay.
There are certain things and questions that cannot be brought down into your language to give you the full understanding. And I do not want to take anything away from you in your inspiration and in your reaching toward your goals. But what you are thinking of, there is waiting for you, is so much greater than what you think of it as now.
I understand what you're saying. Finally.
Yes.
I understand what you're saying.
Thank you, Marvel.
God bless you. Are there other questions this evening? It is a beautiful time of year, and I would remind you, my dear ones, that the people of this planet are much more open at Christmas time than at any other time of the year and the holidays. And we would ask you to send more of God's love, to take time to send love, because during the holidays, from now till your first of what you call first of your year, when people are in a festive mood, they are open and can receive more of God's love. So if we will take a little extra time to send love to the world and to all those on the planet and all those involved with the planet, because there are many, many more that are involved with this planet that are in the physical. And if we would send this love and release it and let God use it as he sees the need, and invent different ways, many ways to send love. There are many, many ways that your mind can bring about to send God's love and let it be a force that can help lift this planet. If enough of you, and there are small groups around this world just like you, many, many of them, and if you can be a channel for God to work through, then this planet can be lifted up without too much destruction. It is strictly up to you as a people, and those who are enlightened have a greater responsibility. And this may seem unfair, my dear ones, but it is true. When you are enlightened and your brother is reaching up to you, then reach down with God's love and lift them up. Release them to God. Each time that you send love to anyone or to anything, always release it to God and know that God is using it to its greatest purpose. This has been a wonderful and beautiful session this evening, and I want you to consider what I have said about gratitude, for it is a much more powerful force than you have given it credit for. Use it more lavishly as you do God's love, and it will bring forth many wonderful things in your life. God bless you, my dear ones. We love you greatly. Good night. Like stand and hold hand. I feel ourselves coming together in the physical as we have been in spirit, and let's feel the presence of our loved ones on the other side of the veil. All of those who have come to sit with us, who are learning just as we are, and let's send them an extra abundance of God's love. And let's send all those in darkness an extra abundance of God's love. And let's send love ahead of us into this week, into our every thought, word, and deed, and to every situation and to every encounter. And let us send love to remind us to send more love. And let us remember to be grateful in all things. Thank you, God. What about it? Interesting class, Tom. Were you the one that was asking the questions? Yeah, I thought it was. Can't always tell that it was low.
There's one thing that stumps me, and that's how when they spiritualize your body, and you don't get buried, they don't bury the body, What? That's that feeling. I don't see it.
That's called, what's it called? What's the word for it? Translation.
I think so. Yeah, but they're supposed to just go. The body's supposed to be light like balsa wood, and
Well, think of Jesus when he's on the Mount of Transfiguration after the resurrection.
for that I understand.
Well, that's the same thing. What's the
But he
difference?
was going to go. They were going to go to the higher regions and evidently stay there.
But he took his physical body with him, didn't he?
Yeah, well.
Because he raised it from the dead. So he turns it into pure light. And it's there for him to use whenever he wants to. In some of the lessons that this has come about, the understanding that the masters have can use many different bodies and be at many different places at the same time and be conscious of all of it and control of all of it. When we're here, we can't control one body. It seems, yeah.
You mean you put this body in the grave and you just take another one and go? Is that it?
Well, I'm not sure what you're talking about, Annabelle. Maybe we got mixed up in our talk. I thought you were talking about translating. When
You take your body with you. It's I read someplace you take your body with you. Well, there's going to be a lot of people surprised. They're going to expect to bury somebody and they won't be there to bury.
Well, you're not this body, see, in the first place. It's just a vehicle like your automobile. And if it wears out, you take it to the junkyard and you get another one.
Well, but when they put the in a grave, that's a junkyard.
Yeah, that's the junkyard. Yeah.
And I
And-
just don't see. They said about that the one that said "sons of God."
Right, really, yeah.
Yeah, no, not where.
Christine Marseille.
Yes, but she just.
She translated, yes. She,
No, that's what I mean. And no, is it are those people that get lost and they put the detectives out to find?
no, I don't know anything about that. But we have many bodies. Let's talk from the first. You're a multi-dimensional being. And in the created universe, you have many bodies, and whenever you go to bed at night and go to sleep, you are manifesting on the dimension that you're vibrating at in one of those other finer bodies. And they are higher in vibration that most people do not see them with their physical eye unless they are clairvoyant, as you were talking about. So when you leave your body, this one wears out, you take it to the junkyard, you go to the other dimensions or manifesting in one of those other finer bodies. You do that every night.
Yeah, I know, but that just is. You'll see. This one, it says you take it with you.
Well, a few people do. Christine Marseille did, Annalise Karen did, and who was it in the Bible? There's somebody in the Bible that did. Enoch? Yeah, Enoch, I think. And Jesus did. And the disciples wanted to go with him, and he said, no, I want you to stay in the world, but be not of it. And that's what we're trying to do, isn't it?
100th time.
You had a point that struck me tonight about how the people that are more aware, like ourselves, are that much more responsible for helping raise the consciousness of everybody. And it just calmed me because lately I've been getting way too caught up in being out of the world instead of just, being in it. Yeah, I guess it's almost like pulling both ends.
We fluctuate until we get complete control. I don't think any of us have complete control in this circle, do we? I know I don't.
I keep getting higher and higher. The higher you go, the harder you could fall, and the faster.
Yeah.
Like, look,
See?
Skiing or anything, you get better at it.
No, she's talking about higher in consciousness, you know.
oh, well, yeah.
Mhm.
Just get real high in consciousness.
Yeah, because like when I first started studying this and reading it, like, now, there was a part of me that just couldn't get enough. And I was on some highs some days that just, I mean, mind-boggling. Yeah, I had my bit with drugs and stuff, but I mean, this was all natural, and there was just no way it could compare. And then we had talked about, you know, the balance of sometimes getting so high that you got to come down again. And I think a part of me has got caught up in being afraid of getting too high naturally because I'm afraid to come down. So in essence, I'm almost at a more constant,
Well,
or just under a balance. And
yeah.
Mm.
It's difficult when you're have to support this body, you know, and have to do all the things that of the world to do it, but yet remain spiritual in your thoughts. And that's the test. And remember that you're always walking on hallowed ground. And remember, no matter who it is, you're looking in the eyes of God. When you can remember that, why, you don't have so much trouble. Or at least I don't. Well, shall we call it a class? And I wish you all a happy Thanksgiving.
Negative cocktail.
oh, fuck.